Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to tackle a concept that's been debated for centuries, but feels more urgent than ever now. Justice.
Absolutely.
And our guide is the philosopher Josef Pieper.
Okay.
Specifically, excerpts you've shared from his work, Josef Pieper, on justice.
Right.
So let's dive in.
Well, what strikes me right away reading this is how Pieper, writing decades ago, nails the relevance of justice to modern issues. He's talking about things like just war.
Wow.
The ethics of following unjust commands.
Yeah.
Even capital punishment. I mean, it's as if he's commenting on today's headlines.
It's like he's saying justice isn't some, abstract philosophy lecture. It's woven into the fabric of
our lives. Yeah.
It's everywhere.
So before we get too far, how does Pieper actually define justice?
He starts classic, to give to each man his due.
Oh, okay.
Simple, right?
Seems straightforward enough.
But then Pieper does what philosophers do.
No, he reveals all the layers beneath the surface.
Okay, unpack that for us a little.
Go ahead.
Where does this idea of due even come from?
Pieper makes this point that often gets overlooked.
Okay.
Rights precede justice.
Okay.
Meaning, before we can give someone their due, we have to understand where those rights originate. And he traces it all the way back to creation itself.
So our very existence as created beings is the source of our rights. Is the source of our rights, exactly.
That's a pretty bold claim.
It is. Yeah. He even says it is through creation that the created being first comes to have his rights. Mm-hmm. And this has huge implications when you start thinking about things like healthcare.
Okay, yeah.
If that's a right stemming from our inherent dignity as humans, then a just society can't ignore its unequal distribution, can it?
That's a powerful connection. It's not just fairness in a vacuum.
Right.
It's tied to something much deeper.
Yeah.
It's tied to our very being.
And so to illustrate that, Pieper uses this thought-provoking example. Can a dog have a right to a bone? I mean, we might give it one out of kindness, but the dog isn't demanding its due in the same way a human would.
Exactly.
It really highlights the uniquely human aspect of justice.
It does. We're
not just talking about fulfilling basic needs.
No.
We're talking about recognizing the inherent worth of each person.
It can't just be based on agreements or what's convenient at the moment.
Yeah.
It's rooted in this understanding of the human person and their connection to truth.
Which makes me think justice isn't just about me getting mine.
No.
It's fundamentally about how I relate to others.
That's a key point. Pieper even contrasts justice with love.
Okay.
He says love can be freely given, no strings attached.
Yeah.
But justice demands reciprocity.
Oh, okay.
Recognizing the other person as distinct.
Okay.
Deserving of their own due.
Oh, so love might be boundless.
Yes.
But justice provides the structure.
It does.
For how we interact fairly, ensuring that everyone
gets what they're owed.
Exactly. And to help us understand the structure a little bit, Pieper lays out 3 fundamental forms of justice. Think of it like a 3-legged stool. Okay? Yeah. You got commutative, distributive, and legal justice, each supporting a just society.
Okay, so break down this justice stool for us a little bit.
Okay.
What's the first leg?
Commutative justice.
Okay.
It's the most straightforward.
Okay.
It governs those one-on-one exchanges, like buying, selling, borrowing, lending, anything where there's a direct give and take.
So ensuring fairness in our everyday transactions, like making sure you get a fair price when you buy something.
Exactly. It's the foundation of trust in any interaction, making sure both sides are getting their due.
Got it. Now, what about that second leg?
Okay.
Distributive justice.
This one feels a bit broader.
It is. Distributive justice is about the relationship between the community as a whole and the individual. It's about how we fairly share the benefits and burdens of society.
So things like access to resources, opportunities, even political representation.
Absolutely.
It's about ensuring everyone has a fair shot, right?
It is. Think about something like the distribution of vaccines during a pandemic. Commutative justice makes sure they're priced fairly.
Yeah.
But distributive justice asks, is access equitable?
Right.
Are the most vulnerable getting their due share?
Okay, so that's 2 legs of our stool. What about that third leg, legal justice? Where does that fit in?
Legal justice is all about our obligations to the community.
Okay.
Things like obeying laws, paying taxes, participating in civic life.
Okay.
It's what we owe to the whole to ensure the common good.
So while distributive justice is about what the community owes to the individual,
right,
legal justice flips that.
It does.
It's about the individual's responsibility to uphold
exactly
the overall justice of the system.
Precisely. And through all three, the common thread you'll see is Pieper's emphasis on the individual person.
Right.
These aren't just abstract ideas.
Yeah.
They directly impact how we treat each other.
Right.
And structure society.
It's like he's building this moral framework with justice as the load-bearing wall. But then he goes even deeper into commutative justice, talking about restitution and recompense.
This challenges how we usually think about justice. It's not just about punishing the wrongdoer.
Right.
It's about making the victim whole again, restoring that balance.
So if someone's property is stolen, justice isn't just throwing the thief in jail.
Right.
It's also ensuring the victim gets their possessions back.
Yes.
Or is compensated for their loss.
Right.
It's about making things right.
It is. Reestablishing that sense of fairness and equilibrium. And this is where Pieper elevates justice.
Okay.
Above other virtues.
Yeah.
Claiming it's closer to reason than things like courage or temperance.
Because justice requires us to think critically.
It does.
To weigh rights and responsibilities, not just react emotionally.
Exactly. But Pieper also acknowledges the limits of human justice.
Okay.
He brings up this vast difference between us and God.
Right.
Saying we can never truly pay our due to our Creator.
Which is a pretty heavy thought.
It is.
If even our best efforts at justice fall short in that ultimate sense.
Right.
Where does that leave us?
That's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
Pieper introduces these concepts of piety and observantia that go beyond simply giving everyone their due.
Okay.
They suggest a truly just society might need something more.
Okay, hold on. Before we go down that rabbit hole,
okay,
I need to process this limits of justice idea.
Okay.
I feel like we've already covered so much ground.
It is a lot.
And we're just scratching the surface.
We are just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
But Pieper is laying the groundwork for a deeper understanding of what it truly means to live in a just world.
Okay, I think I'm catching my breath here.
Okay.
So Pieper's saying there's more to justice than just balancing the scales.
It seems so.
This idea of piety and observantia is like, there's another level we need to reach.
He's not dismissing the importance of getting everyone their due.
Right.
But he's pointing towards something that goes beyond mere obligation.
Okay. So it's not enough.
It's not just about following the rules.
Yeah. There's a deeper
disposition of the heart that's needed.
Okay.
For true justice to flourish.
So think about something like charity.
Okay.
Giving to the needy is a good thing, right?
Sure.
But Pieper would argue that if you're doing it out of social pressure, or to feel good about yourself, it lacks...
It lacks the true spirit.
The true spirit. It becomes more about me than the person I'm supposedly helping.
Exactly. And Pieper highlights this by distinguishing between demands of justice and demands of decency.
Okay.
He says some actions go beyond what justice strictly requires. They stem from kindness and compassion.
So helping a stranger carry groceries might be a decent thing to do, but it's not the same as advocating for policies that ensure everyone has access to affordable food.
Exactly.
Which would be a matter of distributive justice.
Precisely. One is a personal act of kindness.
Yeah.
The other is striving for systemic fairness.
Okay.
Both are important.
Yeah.
But Pieper wants us to recognize the difference.
Okay, I'm picking up on this recurring theme of owing a debt.
Yeah.
When it comes to justice.
Yes.
But who are we indebted to exactly?
It's a great question.
It goes beyond just our interactions with individuals, right?
He talks about a debt to the community as a whole.
Okay.
Even a debt to God.
Okay, so how does that work? What does it mean to owe something to the community?
When it comes to the community, Pieper argues we have a duty to uphold the common good.
Okay.
This includes obeying laws,
Okay.
Participating in civic life, paying taxes.
So it's about recognizing that we're part of something larger than ourselves and contributing to the well-being of the whole.
Exactly. And when it comes to God, Pieper acknowledges that our debt is ultimately unpayable.
Okay.
It highlights the limitations of human justice. We can never fully compensate for the gift of life and creation.
So even our best efforts at justice will always fall short.
Yes.
In the face of God's infinite goodness.
Yes, but that doesn't diminish the importance of striving for justice.
Okay.
In fact, it makes it even more vital.
Okay.
Even as we recognize its inherent limitations.
This is making me rethink that whole blind justice imagery.
Okay.
Piper's advocating for a justice that truly sees the person.
Yes.
Recognizing their inherent worth. Not just blindly applying rules.
That's a great insight.
Yeah.
It's a justice that is both reasoned and compassionate.
But how does this play out in the real world?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's easy to talk about these lofty ideals.
Yeah.
But putting them into practice in our messy, complex societies seems like a whole other challenge.
It is, and Pieper doesn't shy away from that.
Okay.
He gets into the nitty-gritty of political life.
Okay.
Looking at the tension between individual rights and the common good.
Okay.
Critiquing ideologies that fail to uphold human dignity.
So this isn't just about personal ethics.
It
has big implications for how we structure our governments and institutions.
Absolutely. Pieper is concerned about the potential for injustice.
Okay.
When power is misused, he warns against both unchecked individualism and oppressive collectivism.
So he's not promoting a specific political system.
He's not. He's laying out the principles for a just society.
This reminds me of that quote from earlier. Justice is destroyed in twofold fashion. By the false prudence of the sage.
Yes.
And by the violent act of the man who possesses power.
It's a powerful reminder that injustice can come from intellectual errors.
Yeah.
Like subscribing to harmful ideologies.
Right.
And from the abuse of power by those in authority.
So it's a two-front battle.
It is.
We need to be critical thinkers, challenging ideas that dehumanize others.
Yes.
And we need to hold those in power accountable for their actions.
Precisely. And Pieper reminds us that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing task.
It's a journey.
It's not a destination. It's a journey.
Okay.
That requires constant vigilance, reflection, and action.
Speaking of journeys.
Yeah.
Where does Pieper take us next in his exploration of justice? We've talked about its definition, different forms, even its limitations.
We've covered a lot of ground.
What else is there to unpack?
Now that we've laid the philosophical groundwork, Pieper dives into how these ideas actually manifest in different spheres of life.
Okay.
Family dynamics.
Okay.
Economic systems. Political structures.
So it's getting more concrete, less abstract.
It is.
More about how these lofty principles rubber meet the road.
Yes.
In the real world.
Exactly. And this is where his work becomes incredibly relevant for us today.
Okay.
He's challenging us to think critically about the systems we live in and how they can either promote or hinder human flourishing.
So it's not just about philosophical debates.
No, it's not.
It's about creating a world where everyone has the chance to live a good life.
Yes.
A life worthy of their inherent dignity.
That's the core of Pieper's message.
I like it.
And it leads us to another crucial concept.
Okay.
The common good.
So that's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot these days.
It does.
But Pieper doesn't see it as just the sum of individual desires.
He does. He says the common good is more than just adding up everyone's wants and needs.
Yeah. It's about creating a social order where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. To develop their talents and contribute to the well-being of the whole.
So it's not just about everyone getting their slice of the pie.
Oh.
It's about baking a pie that's big enough and diverse enough to nourish everyone.
I love that analogy.
Thank you.
It captures the spirit of Pieper's vision. He understands that the common good isn't static.
Yeah.
It's something we need to constantly reevaluate.
Right.
And adapt to the changing needs of society.
It makes me think about how often we hear that phrase, for the greater good.
Yes.
But Pieper seems to caution against using it.
He does too loosely.
He does. It's not just about achieving some abstract goal.
Right.
It's about ensuring that the pursuit of the common good doesn't trample on individual rights and freedoms.
That's an important distinction.
That's a crucial point. Pieper is deeply concerned about tyranny.
Okay.
Even tyranny in the name of the common good.
Yeah.
He believes that justice requires a careful balancing act between the needs of the individual and the well-being of the community as a whole.
This brings us back to those three forms of justice we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
How do they all contribute to this idea of the common good?
They each play a vital role. Commutative justice ensures fairness in our individual interactions, which builds trust and cooperation. Distributive justice make sure everyone has access to the resources and opportunities they need to flourish.
Right.
Contributing to a healthier, more vibrant community.
Yeah.
And then legal justice.
Yeah.
Upholds the laws and institutions that protect us from threats, both internal and external.
Okay.
Safeguarding the common good for everyone.
It's like they create a sort of moral ecosystem where individuals can thrive and the community as a whole can flourish.
Exactly. And Pieper reminds us that creating this kind of society requires ongoing effort and vigilance. Yeah. It's not something we achieve once and for all. It's a constant process of striving, adapting, and refining our understanding of what it means to live together well.
We've covered so much ground already, but I'm curious. Yeah. Are there any final nuggets of wisdom from Pieper that stand out to you?
Let me think.
Any particularly insightful quotes or ideas that have stuck with you?
There are so many.
I bet.
But if I had to choose one, it would be Pieper's emphasis on the limits of justice.
Okay.
He reminds us that justice, while essential, is not the be-all and end-all of human morality.
Right.
There's something more.
Okay. He brings up those concepts.
He does.
Of piety and observantia again, right?
Yes, he does. It's like he's suggesting that even in a perfectly just society, there would still be a need for something more, something that transcends the strict demands of giving everyone their due.
Yeah, and this is where he leaves us with some profound questions to ponder. It feels like Pieper's acknowledging that human relationships can't be completely captured by, rules and obligations. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a deeper dimension.
There is.
That calls for something more.
It seems like he's pointing toward a realm that goes beyond simply fulfilling our duties.
Okay.
A realm where love, mercy, and gratitude come into play.
Yeah.
It's a challenging idea.
It is.
One that I've wrestled with myself.
So let's wrestle with it together.
Okay.
What are these concepts of piety and observantia? They sound almost like religious ideas.
They do have roots in religious thought.
Right.
But Pieper presents them in a way that transcends specific religious doctrines.
Okay.
Piety in this context is about recognizing the fundamental goodness of being itself.
Okay.
A sense of awe and reverence for the gift of existence.
So it's not just about fulfilling obligations to other people. It's about recognizing a deeper debt.
It is.
Of gratitude for the very fact that we exist.
Yes, and that this gratitude should shape our actions in the world.
Wow.
It's about approaching life with the sense of wonder and humility.
That's beautiful.
It is.
And what about observantia? What does Pieper mean by that?
Observantia is a bit trickier to translate.
Okay.
It's about attentiveness, careful observation.
Okay.
Recognizing the unique dignity and value of each person and thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about seeing the world with fresh eyes, paying attention to the details that often get overlooked.
So it sounds like a call to be more mindful.
Yes.
More present.
Yes.
In our interactions with the world and with each other.
Exactly. Pieper is suggesting that a truly just society needs more than just laws and systems.
Right.
It needs a culture of attentiveness.
Yeah.
A willingness to see the other person not just as a recipient of rights.
Right.
But as a unique and irreplaceable being.
That's a profound challenge. Especially in a world that's increasingly fast-paced and impersonal.
Yes. It's very difficult.
How do we cultivate this sense of piety and observantia in our daily lives? It feels a bit overwhelming.
It's not easy, that's for sure.
No.
But Pieper offers some guidance.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of contemplation.
Mm-hmm.
Of taking time to reflect on the deeper meaning of life.
Right.
And our place in the grand scheme of things.
Mm.
He also stresses the importance of gratitude.
Okay.
Of consciously acknowledging the good things in our lives.
Yeah.
Even the simple things that we often take for granted.
So it's about slowing down.
Yes.
Paying attention.
Yes.
Appreciating the beauty and complexity of the world around us.
And recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay.
Pieper believed that a just society is one where people are connected not just by laws and contracts, but by a deeper sense of shared humanity.
Right.
And a recognition of our common dependence on the gifts of creation.
That's a powerful vision. It makes me think about how often we get caught up in our own little worlds, focused on our own needs and desires.
Right.
Pieper's reminding us to step outside of ourselves and recognize that we're part of something much larger.
Exactly. He's calling us to a more expansive view of justice.
Okay.
One that encompasses not just our relationships with other people, but our relationship with the world as a whole.
This is a daunting challenge.
It is.
But also an inspiring one.
Yes.
It's a reminder that building a more just world requires more than just political activism or social reform.
Right.
It requires a transformation of the heart.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's a message that resonates deeply with me.
Me too.
Pieper's work has challenged me to think more deeply about my own life, my own values, and my own role in creating a more just and compassionate world.
And I think that's the power of great philosophy.
It is.
It doesn't just give us answers.
Right.
It opens up new questions.
New ways of seeing the world.
Yeah, new ways of seeing the world, new possibilities for action.
Exactly. And Josef Pieper's work on justice is a perfect example of that.
It is.
He doesn't offer easy solutions.
Right.
But he invites us into a deeper conversation, a more nuanced and challenging exploration of what it truly means to live in right relationship with ourselves, with each other, and with the world around us.
Well, he's certainly given us a lot to think about.
He has.
This deep dive into Josef Pieper's On Justice has been a real eye-opener. It's challenged some of our assumptions.
It has.
Deepened our understanding.
It has.
And left us with a renewed sense of the importance of striving for a more just and compassionate world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Likewise, and to our listeners.
Yes.
We encourage you to keep diving deep.
Yes.
Keep asking questions.
Yes.
And keep striving for a more just world.
Until next time.